There have been two controversies brewing at Marvel Comics this week. There was a spoiler in Daredevil Woman Without Fear, which kind of is essentially spoils a big reveal from Devil's Reign #5, which is yet to be released. Obviously, that got people's panties in a bunch, and I can understand that. But there's also controversy surrounding Jason Aaron and his recent issue of King Conan. There's a character in there that shares the name with Pocahontas. It's not actually Pocahontas. It's another name that the historical person we know as Pocahontas went by in the past, and he was taken to task and told, you better give that money back. And he acquiesced to the mob. Is Thinking Critical going to stand up and defend Jason Aaron? I think on this one I might have to. I don't really think he did anything wrong. I'm definitely going to explain that. So we got two controversies. We've got this big spoiler for Devil's Reign, and we've got this King Conan stuff going on. Going to start with the Devil's Reign spoiler that we've got. If you have not been reading Daredevil Woman Without Fear, this is the 3rd issue. I believe it's actually over. It's actually pretty darn good. I don't mind Elektra as Daredevil. I actually kind of liked it. I think now that Matt is out of prison and is back to being Daredevil, there's no reason to have her as Daredevil, but that is neither here nor there because they've continued the story. And in my opinion, I think Chip Zdarsky has done a wonderful job. She has been fighting Kraven the Hunter and investigating some of the things that are going around. Specifically, she wants to reform the Fist. And at the end of her confrontation, I believe they're in a school auditorium. I think it's an empty school auditorium. Her handler from The Hand, that didn't go together right, but that's who this person is, Akka. They have a conversation about it, and she lets her know that she's going to be the end of The Hand. She's reforming the Fist. And as Elektra leaves the auditorium, one of Matt's friends comes up and says to her, Elektra, oh God, my office just called. No, how could? Goldie, what's going on? Matt's dead. Murdered in his apartment. Then we get the little star sign that says, see Devil's Reign #5. Problem is, Devil's Reign #5 has not happened yet. That comes out next week. So have they accidentally spoiled the death of Matt Murdock? It would appear so. I do have some theories about this that I'm going to get to. They said there was an eyewitness. It's almost impossible to believe, but the main suspect is Mayor Fisk. Well, that's actually kind of probable to believe that would happen. Now, what was likely happening, I don't know that they did this on purpose to get people to potentially buy Devil's Reign #5 as a little accidental spoiler in there, is we do know there has been a character impersonating Matt Murdock. Elektra's been impersonating Daredevil while Matt was in prison, and then his twin brother that was reconstituted and made into real life during that Chip Zdarsky Daredevil One More Day story. And he was impersonating Matt while he was in prison so people wouldn't realize and put 2 and 2 together that Daredevil and Matt Murdock are one of the same. So they were able to do that without people catching on that, in fact, Matt Murdock is Daredevil. I imagine the character that died in his apartment is not our Matt Murdock. It's his twin brother that was brought into this earth by a magical stone that was impersonating him, that likely Wilson Fisk and his men were able to off. That is just a theory. We shall see next week. But this did certainly upset some people, as it appears, or it could appear, that they spoiled a major death of a major Marvel Comics superhero universe character within issue 5 of Devil's Reign. I happen to believe that this is not actually the real Matt Murdock, but I can see why people would be pissed if it is. This would be a major mistake if that is actually what happened, to spoil an event like that. There's also another first appearance in this comic book of a character that might give this some speculator value. We get the first appearance of the new Frank Castle as a soldier for the Hand, as Akka is talking to one of the priestesses from the Hand, and they're talking about their issues with Elektra and her trying to reconstitute the Fist, and she's like, never mind, we've got the Beast. We've got Frank Castle, and you can see him, and he's in his new costume with his new Punisher logo. I'm going to be honest. I think that Marvel should just stick with this Punisher logo from now on. It will save them the headache, and they will no longer have to go out there and call people white nationalists and criminals that are actually wearing the other Punisher logo that they have an invested interest in. Divest yourself from that logo, invest in this one. I think they should stick with this for the foreseeable future. I think a lot of people would be happy to see Frank Castle with this new logo and just stick with it. Of course, those people would not be Punisher fans, but we can't make everyone happy, can we? Let's just let the police officers and the soldiers keep the logo that they've all been wearing for so many years, because Frank Castle has a new logo. Marvel has improved the Punisher logo. It looks like it's out of, I don't know, Mortal Kombat, something stupid like that. So this is a first appearance of the new Frank Castle that works for the Hand. He is now the Beast. I hope you don't get screwed out of $30 or something trying to get this comic book so you can get this first appearance. Now let's get to the other controversy. I am no fan of Jason Aaron. I don't think he's a very good comic book writer, but I have been enjoying his King Conan book. It's been pretty solid writing, and I think Mahmoud Asrar is doing a phenomenal job. But there is some controversy out there. People are upset at his depiction of a new character that he introduced, and it's quite clear in my mind, from what I can see, that he did not mean to do this. But that is neither here nor there for the Twitter mob. It is an opportunity to virtue signal and try and take somebody down a peg or two and potentially take a scalp with the canceling. So, of course, they've gone after him. I've got the details right now. Kelly Lynn D'Angelo, who apparently is a Native American person that works within, I don't know, Hollywood or something. I've never actually heard of this person, but apparently they are Native American. They went to Twitter and they said, disgusted, isn't even close to a word for it. How? How is it okay? She was a real little girl to do this to her, to us, over and over again. I am just at a loss. Disgusting. Does she not deserve rest? Reclamation. Otter. You colonizers make me vom. I'm assuming that means vomit. Marvel. I highly recommend you pull this from your canon. You create something amazing like Echo, then pull this crap out. For shame. Stan Lee would be rolling in his grave. This is active violence against us and our community. The sexualization of a real young girl that was raped and killed young affects our murdered and missing Indigenous women today. You are backwards, sick, and you should donate every penny you earn creating this to the hashtag MMIW. I believe that's the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women Foundation. She continues, I'm truly aghast. How do you not have a sensitivity reader for this? And you used her real name? They're talking about Pocahontas. To my knowledge, Pocahontas, the person that really existed and lived in this world's real name, like born name, was Amunute or Amunut. One of those two. But she did go by an alias, sometimes called Matuaka. And apparently this new character in this comic book is called Princess Matuaka. And that is the controversy, according to Kelly Lynn D'Angelo. But she is not done because she's going to give Jason Aaron some more of the riot act. You made this even worse. The writers, creatives at Marvel, everyone involved, you should be donating everything made on this to the missing and murdered Indigenous women. I'm truly just at a loss. The disrespect. Hey, Jason Aaron, you are a shit writer. I'm going to agree with her there, but I don't agree with how she got to this conclusion. I originally wrote a much worse insult, but I decided to keep the peace because nothing that I say to you will be anything near the mauling you're going to receive in the spirit world once you enter it. But now this is the new character that was introduced in King Conan #3, Princess Matuaka. I believe she has some magical powers. Conan discovers on an island, off the coast of somewhere. This character in design is clearly sexualized. There's no getting around that one. She's got that right. This character is definitely made to look very sexy. But I don't believe Jason Aaron was trying to insert the actual character Pocahontas into a story. I think the association of the name of this character to the real-life person Pocahontas is purely an accident. But we cannot give Jason Aaron the benefit of the doubt here. He definitely needs to be taken to task and be told to give away his money. And certainly we need to disrespect all of Marvel Comics. But when we see the way the character is introduced, this character is clearly Mayan in the mind of Jason Aaron, the way that the character is depicted within the story. He was not trying to associate the real life person Pocahontas that was in Jamestown and all that stuff. And we've seen the cartoons and whatnot on the adventures that Pocahontas went into. Now, obviously, they've cleaned up that story quite a bit for public consumption and certainly for children's stories. She was not Mayan. This character clearly is. And in my mind, it's likely an accident that they end up associating this new character in his Conan universe vaguely with the real character Pocahontas. Although she does fall in love with a conquistador from Spain, which certainly didn't happen to Pocahontas, but she did also fall in love with an outsider. So I guess I could see if you really wanted to squint real hard and turn your head, you could make this fit your story if you really wanted to take Jason Aaron down. Jason Aaron, of course, is a pussy. So this is what he had to say. In King Conan #3, I made the ill-considered decision to give a character the name of Matuaka, a name most closely associated with the real-life Native American figure Pocahontas. I really don't think it is. I don't think almost anyone knew that. This new character is a supernatural 1,000-year-old princess of a cursed island within a world of pistache and dark fantasy and was never intended to be based on anyone from history. Okay, so at least he admitted that. But he is going to apologize and give his money away. I should have better understood the name's true meaning and resonance and recognized it wasn't appropriate to use it. I understand the outrage expressed by those who hold the true Matawaka's legacy dear, and for all of this and the distress it's caused, I apologize. As part of that apology, I've already taken what I was paid for the issue and donated it to the National Indigenous Women's Research Center. The character's name and appearance will be adjusted for the rest of the miniseries and in all digital and collected editions. By Jason Aaron's own admission, this was not intended to be associated with the real-life character Pocahontas, but because Jason Aaron, he's a pussy, he had to apologize and he's giving his money away. I do not believe that this is warranted, and I do hope that Kelly Lynn DeAngelo never does anything that could be constrained as disrespecting another culture or a historical figure or anything like that, because I will definitely be calling for her to give her money away. It's not like comic book creators these days are rich. Jason Aaron is likely doing better than a lot of others, but I don't believe that he's a millionaire or anything like that. I do feel like this is taking advantage of Jason Aaron in a way that you knew that he wasn't going to be able to respond in kind. The guy's got no gumption. There was no way he was going to stand up for himself and be like, you know what? You're putting intentions into my story that were not there to begin with. No, he had to apologize. He gave his money away. I do not believe it was warranted. And I think I do believe Kelly Lynn DeAngelo was out of line with all the vitriol that she spewed in Jason Aaron's way. And I don't really think it's all that controversial, but it was in the news. I definitely want to hear what you guys think. What did you think about the controversy at Marvel Comics today? Did they spoil Devil's Reign #5? Or you to believe my idea that they actually were kind of pumping it up to think that Matt Murdock is dead, but it's really his twin brother that was brought back in that One More Day story by Chip Zdarsky? What do you think about my idea of just keeping this new logo on Frank Castle? We don't need him to take the old logo back. Other people are already using it anyway. Marvel doesn't need it. He's better off with the new logo associated with the head. And what do you think about the accusations against Jason Aaron? Were they warranted? Should he have apologized? I say no. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Faux outrage over Frank Castle, the Punisher, and his logo is all the rage within the Twitter sphere. Eric Larson decided to jump in on it and made a fool of himself. If you haven't seen this video and really seen what Eric Larson thinks of gay people and gay culture, you got to check it out because he makes a total ass of himself. You're going to like this one.